Om Sai Ram, Sai Satcharitra Chapter 21. In this chapter, Hemant Pant relates the stories of Vinayak Harishchandra Thakur, Anantrao Patankar of Pune, and a pleader from Pandharpur. All these stories are very interesting and, if carefully read and grasped, will lead the readers onto the spiritual path. Preliminary. As a general rule, it is the result of the accumulation of merits in our past births that enables us to seek the company of saints and profit thereby. To illustrate this rule, Hemant Pant gives his own instance. He was a resident magistrate in Bhandra, a suburb of Bombay, for many years. A famous Muslim saint named Pir Maulana lived there, and many people who followed different religions used to go to him and receive his darshan. The Maulana's priests tried to persuade Hemant Pant many a times to go and see the saint, but for some reason or the other, he was not able to receive the Maulana's darshan. After many years, his turn came and he was called to Shirdi, where he was permanently enlisted in SaiBaba's darbar. Unfortunate people do not get to meet saints. It is only fortunate ones who receive this grace. Saints working in unison. There have been saints in this world from time immemorial. Various saints incarnate in various places to carry out the missions allotted to them. And though they work in different places, they work in unison. They work in unison under the common authority of the Almighty Lord and know exactly what each of them is doing in this place and supplement his work where necessary. An instance illustrating this is given below. Mr. Thakur. Mr. V.H. Thakur was a clerk in the revenue department. He once came to a town named Vadgaon with a survey team. There he met a Canary saint, Appa, and bowed before him. The saint was explaining a portion from the book Vichar Sagar by Nischal Das, a standard work on the Vedanta, to the audience. When Thakur was about to leave, Appa said to him, "You should study this book, and if you do so, your desires will be fulfilled. And when you go to the north in the discharge of your duties in the future, you will be fortunate enough to come across a great saint. Then he will show you the future path and give rest to your mind and make you happy." Then he was transferred to Junnar, where he had to cross the Nhani Ghat, a rugged valley, every day to get to work. This ghat was very steep and almost impassable, and no conveyance other than a buffalo was of use in crossing it. So he had to take a buffalo ride through the ghat. The trip inconvenienced him greatly. He was later transferred to Kalyan on a promotion, and there he met Nana Sahib Chandorkar. He heard a lot about Sai Baba from Chandorkar and wished to see Baba. The next day, Nana Sahib had to go to Shirdi, and he asked Thakur to accompany him. Thakur could not do so as he had to appear in the Thana civil court for the case. So Nana Sahib went alone. Thakur went to Thana, but there the case was postponed. Then he regretted not accompanying Nana Sahib. Nevertheless, he left for Shirdi, and when he arrived, he found that Nana Sahib had left the previous day. Some of his other friends whom he met there took him to Baba. He saw Baba, fell at his feet, and was overjoyed. His eyes were full of tears of joy, and his hair stood on end. Then after a while, the omniscient Baba said to him, "The path of this place is not as easy as the teachings of the Canary Saint Appa, or even as easy as the buffalo ride in the Nane Ghat. On the spiritual path, you have to put in your best effort, as it is very difficult." When Thakur heard this significant words, which no one else knew, he was overwhelmed with joy. He immediately knew that the words of the Canary saint had turned out to be true. Then, joining both the hands and placing his head at Baba's feet, he prayed that he should be accepted and blessed. Baba then said, "What Appa told you was right, but these things have to be practiced and lived. Mere reading won't do. You have to think through and carry out what you read, otherwise it is of no use. Mere book learning without the grace of the Guru or without self-realization is of no avail. The theoretical portion was read from the work Vichar Sagar, but the practical way was shown to him at Shirdi. Another story given below will bring out this truth more forcibly. Anantrao Patankar. A gentleman from Pune named Anantrao wished to see Baba. He came to Shirdi and received Baba's darshan. His eyes were appeased and he was very pleased. He fell at Baba's feet and after performing proper worship said to Baba, I have read a lot, studied the Vedas, Vedantas and Upanishads and heard all the Puranas, and yet I still have not got any peace of mind. Thus, I think that all my reading was useless. Simple, ignorant, devout persons are better than me. Unless the mind becomes calm, all book learning is of no avail. I have heard from many people that you easily give peace of mind to so many people by your mere glance and playful words. So I have come here. Please take pity on me and bless me. Then Baba told him a parable which was as follows. The parable of 9 balls of stool, Navavidha Bhakti. Once a merchant came here, and right before him his maid passed her stool, 9 balls of stool. The merchant, intent on his quest, spread the end of his dhotar and gathered all the 9 balls in it, and thus he got peace of mind. Mr. Patankar could not understand the meaning of the story, so he asked Ganesh Damodar alias Dada Kelkar, what does Baba mean by this? He replied, I too don't know all the Baba says and means, but I will say what he inspires me to. The mare is God's grace, and the 9 balls excreted are the 9 forms of bhakti. Shravana hearing, Kirtana praying, Smarana is remembering, Pada Sevana is resorting to the feet, Archana is worship, Namaskara is bowing, Dasya is service, Sakhyata is friendship, and Atma Nivedana, surrender of the self. If any of this is faithfully followed, the Lord will be pleased and will manifest himself in the home of the devotee. All the sadhanas like japa is the vocal worship, tapa is the penance, yoga and studying the scriptures and expounding them are quite useless unless they are accompanied by bhakti, the devotion. Knowledge of the Vedas or fame as a great gnani and mere formal bhajan are of no avail. What is wanted is loving devotion. Consider yourself as the merchant of seeker after the truth and be anxious and eager like him to collect or cultivate the 9 types of devotion. Then you will attain stability and peace of mind. The next day, when Patankar went to Baba, he was asked whether he collected the 9 balls of stool. Then he said that he, as a poor soul, should first be graced by Baba and then only could they be collected. Then Baba blessed and comforted him, saying that he would attain peace of mind and serenity. After hearing this, Patankar became overjoyed and happy. The Pandharpur pleader. We should close this chapter with a short story showing Baba's omniscience and his using it to correct people and set them on the right path. Once a pleader from Pandharpur came to Shirdi, went to masjid and received Sai Baba's darshan. He fell at Baba's feet and without being asked offered some dakshina. Then he sat in a corner, eager to hear the conversation that was going on. The Baba turned towards the man and said, How cunning people are! They fall at my feet after dakshina and insult me behind my back. Is this not wonderful? This remark fitted the pleader and he had to take it. No one understood the remark, but the pleader grasped it and remained silent. When they turned to the Vada, the pleader said to Kaka Sahib Dikshit, Baba's remark was perfectly accurate. The dart remark was aimed at me. It was a hint that I should not indulge in revealing or scandalizing others. When the sub-judge of Pandharpur, Mr. Nulkar, came and stayed in Shirdi for the improvement of the health, a discussion about this matter was going on in barroom at Pandharpur, something that occurs in many a barroom. The lawyers discussed whether the sub-judge's ailments would never be cured without a medicine. Would he be cured merely by seeking Sai Baba's aid, and was it proper for an educated man like the sub-judge to resort to such methods? The sub-judge was taken to talk and was criticized, and so was Sai Baba. I also took some part in this affair, and now Sai Baba showed me the impropriety of my conduct. This is not a rebuke to me, but a favor. It is advised that I should not indulge in any scandal or slander of others and not interfere unnecessarily in others' affairs. Shirdi is about 300 miles from Pandharpur, and yet Baba, due to his omniscience, knew what transpired there in the barroom. The intervening places were not an impediment to his all pervading sight, and he could read everyone's mind and see through their hearts. Nothing was secret or veiled from him. Everything far or near was as plain and clear to him as broad daylight. Let a man be far or near, he cannot avoid the all pervading gaze of Sai Baba. Through this incident, the pleader learned the lesson that he should never speak ill of others or unnecessarily criticize them. Thus, his evil tendency was removed and he was set on the right path. Though the story refers to a pleader, it is applicable to everyone. Everyone should take this lesson to heart and profit thereby. Sai Baba's greatness is unfathomable, and so far, and so are his wonderful Leelas. His life is also such, for he is Parabrahma, the Lord incarnate. End of chapter 21. Om Sai Ram. Om Sai Ram, Sai Satcharitra Chapter 22. Topics: Bala Saheb Mirikar, Bapu Saheb Booty, Amir Shakar, Hemad Pant, and Baba's opinion regarding the killing of serpents. Preliminary. How does one meditate on Baba? No one has been able to fathom the nature or the form of the Almighty. Even the Vedas and the thousand-tongued Shesha are not able to describe it fully. But the devotees cannot but know and look at the form of the God, for they know that his feet are the only means of their happiness. They know no other method of attaining the supreme goal of life except meditating on the holy feet of the Lord. Hemad Pant suggests an easy way of devotion and meditation, which is as follows. Look at Baba's posture. See how fine it is. He is sitting with his legs folded, the right leg across the left knee. The finger of his left hand are spread on the right foot. On the right toe are spread his two fingers, the index and middle ones. By this posture, Baba means to say that if anyone wants to see his life, be egoless, very humble, and meditate on his toe through the opening between the two branches, this is the easiest means of attaining devotion. Now let us turn for a moment to Baba's life. Shirdi had become a place of pilgrimage on account of Baba's stay. People from all quarters flocked there, and both the rich and the poor began to be benefited in more ways than one. Who can describe Baba's boundless love, his wonderful knowledge, and his all pervasiveness? Blessed is he who could experience one or all of this. Sometimes Baba observed long silence, which were in a way his dissertation on the Brahman. And at other times he was consciousness, bliss incarnate. Sometimes he spoke in parables, and at other times indulged in wit and humor. At times he was quite unambiguous, that is clear, and at times he seemed enraged. Sometimes he gave his teachings in a nutshell, while at other times he argued at length. Many a times he was very direct. In this way, he gave varied instruction to people according to their requirements. His life was therefore inscrutable, beyond the need of our mind and beyond our intellect and speech. All longing to see his face, to speak with him, and hear his Leelas was never satisfied, and yet we are overflowing with joy. We can account the showers of rain and encircle the wind in a leather bag, but who can gauge or measure his Leelas? Now, we deal here with one aspect of them, how he anticipated or forestalled the calamities of his devotees and warded them off in time. Bala Saheb Mirikar. Bala Saheb Mirikar, Sirdar Kaka Saheb Mirikar's son, was Mamaldar of Kopargaon. He was going on tour to Chitali. On the way, he came to Shirdi to see Sai Baba. When he went to the masjid and prostrated himself before Baba, the usual conversation regarding health and other matters commenced. When Baba suddenly sounded a note of warning as follows: "Do you know our Dwarkamai?" As Bala Saheb did not understand what Baba meant, he kept quiet and Baba continued, "Our Dwarkamai is where you are seated. She wards off all the dangers and anxieties of her children who sit on her lap. This Masjid Mai, its presiding deity, is very merciful. She is the mother of simple devotees, whom she will save in calamities. Once a person sits on her lap, all his troubles are over. He who rests in her shade gets bliss." Then Baba gave him Odi and blessed him by placing his protecting hand on Mirikar's head. When Bala Saheb was about to depart, Baba again said, "Do you know the Lamba Bhava, the serpent?" And then closing his left arm like a fist, he brought it near his right elbow and moving his left arm like the hood of a serpent, he said, "He is so terrible. But what can he do to the children of the Dwarkamai? When the Dwarkamai protects, what could the serpent possibly do?" Everyone who was present there was curious to know the meaning of all this and its reference to Mirikar. But no one had the courage to ask Baba about this. Then Bala Saheb bowed before Baba and left the masjid with Shama. Baba called Shama back and asked him to accompany Bala Saheb and enjoy the Chitali trip. Shama went up to Bala Saheb and told him that he would travel with him, according to Baba's orders. Bala Saheb replied that he need not come as it would be inconvenient. Shama returned to Baba and told him that Bala Saheb had said, Baba said, "All right, do not go. We should mean well and do well. Whatever is destined to happen will happen." In the meanwhile, Bala Saheb thought over it again and asked Shama to accompany him. Then Shama went to Baba again and took his leave and left with Bala Saheb in the Tanga. They reached Chitali at 9 a.m. and encamped in the Maruti temple. The office workers had not arrived, so they sat quietly in the temple chatting. Bala Saheb was sitting on a mat reading a newspaper. His uparani, that is the upper dhotar, was spread across his waist. On a part of it, a snake was sitting unobserved. It began to move with a rustling sound, which was heard by the peon. He brought a lantern, saw the snake, and raised an alarm. Bala Saheb was frightened and began to shiver with fear. Shama was also stunned. Then Shama and the others moved stealthily and picked up sticks and clubs. The snake slithered slowly off Miraku's waist and it was immediately done to death. Thus, this calamity, which was predicted by Baba, was averted and Bala Saheb's love for Baba increased immensely. Bapu Saheb Bhuti, a great astrologer, named Nana Saheb, said to Bapu Saheb Bhuti one day, "Today is an inauspicious day for you. There is a danger to your life." This made Bapu Saheb restless. When Bapu Saheb came to the masjid that day, Baba said to him, "What does this Nana say? He foretells death for you? Well, you need not be afraid. Tell him boldly. Let us see how death kills." Then later in the evening, when Bapu Saheb went to relieve himself, he saw a snake. His servants saw it too and lifted a stone to strike at it. Bapu Sahib asked him to get a big stick, but before the servant returned with the stick, the snake was then slithering away and soon disappeared. Bapu Sahib remembered with joy Baba's words of fearlessness. Amir Shakar. Amir Shakar was a native of the village of Koral. He worked as a commission agent in Bandra and was well known there. He once suffered from rheumatism, which gave him a lot of pain. He was then reminded of God, so he left his business and went to Shirdi and prayed to Baba to relieve him from his malady. Baba then stationed him in the Chavdi, which was then a damp, unhealthy place unfit for such a patient. Any other place in the village would have been better for Amir, but Baba's word was the deciding factor and the chief medicine. Baba did not allow him to come to the masjid, but asked him to remain in the Chavdi, where he got the great advantage of Baba's regular darshan. Baba passed by the Chavdi every morning and evening and stayed there overnight every alternate day, so Amir received Baba's contact very often. Amir stayed there for a full 9 months, and then somehow or the other he had a disgust for the place. So one night he stealthily left the place and came to Kopargaon and stayed in a dharmashala. There he saw an old dying fakir who asked him for water. Amir brought some water and gave it to the fakir. As soon as the fakir drank it, he passed away. Then Amir was in a fix. He thought that if he went and informed the authorities, he would be held responsible for the death as he was the first and sole informant. He repented leaving Shirdi without Baba's leave and prayed to Baba. He then decided to return to Shirdi that same night and ran back to Shirdi. Remembering Baba and chanting Baba's name on the way, then he lived in the Chavdi in perfect accordance with Baba's wishes and orders and was eventually cured. One night, it so happened that Baba cried out at midnight, "Oh Abdul, some devilish creature is dashing against the side of my bed." Abdul came with a lantern and examined Baba's bed but found nothing. Baba asked him to look carefully and began to strike the ground with his satka. Seeing Baba's Leela, Amir knew that Baba sensed a serpent had come there. Amir knew through close and long contact with Baba the meaning of Baba's words and actions. Baba then saw something moving near Amir's pillow. He asked Abdul to bring the light, and when he brought it, he saw the coil of a serpent moving its head up and down. The serpent was immediately beaten to death. Thus Baba gave timely warning and saved Amir. Hemant Pant's experience, the scorpion and the serpent. At Baba's recommendation, Kaka Sahib Dikshit read two books of Sri Eknath Maharaj, the Bhagavat and Bhavarta Ramayana, every day, and Hemant Pant had the good fortune of being amongst the audience. Once, when a portion from the Ramayana about Hanuman's testing Rama's greatness, according to his mother's instruction, was being read, all the listeners were spellbound. Hemant Pant was one of them. The big Scorpio, no one knew where it came from, sat on his Uparani, that is the upper dhotar, which was on Hemant Pant's right shoulder. At first it was not noticed, but as the Lord protects those who are intent on hearing his stories, Hemant Pant casually cast a glance over his right shoulder and noticed it. It was dead silent and did not move at all. It seemed as if it too was enjoying the reading. Then, with Lord's grace, Hemant Pant stealthily took the two ends of his dhota, folded them, and enclosed the Scorpio within. Then he went out and threw it out into the garden. On another occasion, a few people were sitting on the upper floor of Dikshit's Vada just before nightfall when a serpent crept through a hole in the window frame and sat coiled up. A light was brought and the snake was first dazzled by the light. However, it sat still and only moved its head up and down. Then many people rushed there with sticks and cudgels, but as it sat in an awkward place, no blow could be dealt. But upon hearing the commotion, the serpent went out hastily through the same hole. Then everyone there felt relieved. Baba's opinion. A devotee named Muktaram then said that it was good that the poor creature escaped. Hemant Pant challenged him, saying that serpents should be killed. There was a heated discussion between them, the former contending that serpents and such creatures should not be killed, the latter that they should be. As night fell, the discussion came to an end without any decisions being arrived at. The next day, the question was referred to Baba, who gave his opinion, which was as follows: God lives in all beings and creatures, whether they are serpents or scorpions. He is the master, wire puller of the universe, and all beings obey his commands. Unless he wills it, nobody can do any harm unto others. The world is all dependent on him, and no one is independent. So, we should take pity on and love all creatures, not engage in adventurous fights and killings, and be patient. The Lord protects everyone. End of chapter 22. Om Sai Ram. Om Sai Ram, Sai Satcharitra Chapter 23. Topics: Yoga and the Onion, Shamma cured of snake bite, Baba breaks the cholera ordinance, and the ordeal of Guru Bhakti. Preliminary. In reality, this Jiva transcends the three qualities, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, but being false belief by Maya, he forgets his nature, which is existence, knowledge, bliss, and thinks that he is the one who does things and thus entangles himself in endless miseries and does not know the way of deliverance. The only way of deliverance is loving devotion towards the Guru's feet. The great player or actor, the Lord Sai, has blessed us bhaktas and transferred them into himself. We regard Sai Baba as an incarnation of God for reasons already stated, but he always said that he was an obedient servant of God. Though an incarnation, he showed people the way to behave satisfactorily and carry out the duties of the respective stations in his life. He never emulated others in any way or asked others to have something done for him. For him, who saw the Lord in all movable and immovable things of the world, humility was the most appropriate. He did not disregard or disrespect anybody, for he saw Narayana, the Lord, in all beings. He never said, I am God, but that he was a humble servant and that he always remembered God and always said the words, God is the sole proprietor or the owner. We do not know saints well enough how they behave or what they do. We only know that by God's grace they manifest themselves in this world to liberate ignorant and bound souls like us. If there is a store of merits on our account, we get a desire or listen to the stories and leelas of saints. Let us now turn to the main story of this chapter. Yoga and the Onion. Once it so happened that a keen scholar of yoga came to Shirdi with Nana Sahib Chandorkar. He had studied all the works on yoga, including the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, but had no practical experience. He could not concentrate his mind and attain samadhi even for a short time. He thought that if Sai Baba was pleased with him, he would show him the way to attain samadhi for a longer time. With this object in mind, he came to Shirdi and went to the masjid. There he saw Sai Baba eating bread with onion. On seeing this, a thought arose in his mind. How can this man, who eats stale bread with raw onion, solve my issues and help me. Sai Baba read his mind immediately and said to Nana Sahib, Nana, only he who has the power to digest onion should eat it and none else. Hearing this remark, the yogi was wonderstruck and he fell at Baba's feet in complete surrender. With a pure and open mind, he explained his difficulties and had them solved by Baba. Thus, being satisfied and happy, he left Shirdi with Baba's udi and blessings. Shama cured of snake bite. Before Imad Pant begins the story, he says that the jiva is very similar to a parrot, since they're both bound, one in the body and the other in the cage. Both think that their present bound state is good for them. It is only when a helper, that is Guru, comes along and with God's grace opens their eyes and liberates them from their bondage that their eyes are open to a greater and larger life. In the last chapter, we saw how Baba anticipated the calamity that was to befall Mr. Mirikar and rescued him from it. Now let the readers hear an even grander story. Once Shama was bitten by a poisonous snake. His little finger was stung and the poison began to spread into his body. The pain was severe and Shama thought he would die soon. His friends wanted to take him to the god Vithoba, where such cases were often sent, but Shama ran to the masjid to his Vithoba, Sai Baba. When Baba saw him, he began to yell at him. He got enraged and said, O Ville, Bathurdia, do not climb up. Beware if you do so. And then roared, Go, get away, come down. Seeing Baba thus red with wrath, Shama was greatly puzzled and disappointed. He thought that the masjid was his home and that Sai Baba his sole refuge. But he was driven away like this. Where should he go? He lost all hope of life and sat there dejected. After a while, Baba became normal and calm, and Shama went up and sat near him. Then Baba said to him, Don't be afraid. The merciful fakir will save you. Go and sit quietly at home. Don't go out and believe in me. Remain fearless and have no anxiety. Then he was sent home. Soon after this, Baba sent Tatya Patil and Kaka Sahib Dikshit to Shama with instruction to the effect that he should eat and drink what he liked, should move freely inside his house, but should not lie down and sleep, needless to say. These instructions were acted upon and Shama soon recovered. The only things to be remembered in this case are the words Baba used. The words go, get away, come down were not addressed to Shama as it appeared then, but were a direct order to the snake and its poison to not go up and circulate through Shama's body. Like others well versed in Mantra Shastra, Baba did not have to use any incantation, charge rice, or water. His words by themselves were most efficacious in saving Shama's life. Anyone who hears the story and other similar ones will develop firm faith in Sai Baba's feet. And the only way to cross the ocean of Maya is to always remember Baba's holy feet. The cholera epidemic. Once cholera was raging violently in Shirdi, the residents were very frightened and they stopped all communication with the outside world. The elders of the village assembled and decided upon two audiences as a remedy to stop the epidemic. The audiences were that no fuel cart should be allowed to come into the village and that no goat should be killed there. If anybody disobeyed their ordinances, they were to be fined by the village elders. Baba knew that all this was mere superstitious and therefore did not care at all for the cholera ordinances, while the ordinances were in the force, a fuel cart came there and wanted to enter the village. Everybody knew that there was a shortage of fuel in the village, yet people began to drive the fuel cart away. Baba came to know this. He came to the spot and asked the cart driver to take the fuel cart to the masjid. No one dared to raise his voice against Baba. He wanted to fuel for his dhuni, and so he purchased it. Like a Brahman, keeping the sacred fire alive throughout his life, Baba kept his dhuni burning all day and night, and for this he always stocked fuel. Baba's home, the masjid, was free and open to everyone. It had no lock and key, and poor people took some firewood from there for their use. Baba did not grumble about this. Baba knew that the whole universe was pervaded by the Almighty, and so he never bore enmity or ill will towards anybody. Though perfectly detached, he behaved like an ordinary householder to set an example for us people. The ordeal of Guru Bhakti. Let us know, see how the second cholera ordinance fared with Baba. While it was in force, somebody brought a goat to the masjid. It was weak, old, and about to die. At this time, Fakir Pir Muhammad of Malegaon, alias Bade Baba, was there. Sai Baba asked him to behead it with one stroke and offer it as an oblation. Bhade Baba was respected by Sai Baba. He always sat right next to Sai Baba. After the children, the pipe was first smoked by Sai Baba. It was then offered to Bade Baba and then the others. After the dishes were served at noon, Sai Baba respectfully called Bade Baba and made him sit on his left side, and then everyone partook of the food. Baba paid him ₹50 every day out of the amount collected as dakshina. Baba accompanied him 100 paces whenever he was leaving. Such was his position with Baba. But when Sai Baba asked him to behead the goat, he flatly refused, saying, "Why should it be killed for nothing?" Then Baba asked Shama to kill it. He went to Radha Krishna Mai and bought a knife from her and placed it before Baba. When she discovered the purpose for which the knife was taken, she recalled it. Then Shama went to get another knife, but remained in the Vada and did not return for a while. Then came Kaka Sahib Dikshit's turn. He was undoubtedly as good as gold, but had to be tested. Baba asked him to get a knife and kill the goat. He went to Sate's Vada and returned with a knife. He was ready to kill it at Baba's bidding. He was born in a pure Brahmin family and never in his life killed anything. Though quite averse to performing any act of violence, he made himself bold enough to kill the goat. Everyone looked on him. Astonishment to see the Bade Bhai, a Muslim, was unwilling to kill it, while this pure Brahmin was making preparation to do so. He tightened his dhotar and with a semicircular motion raised the knife and looked at Baba for the final signal. Baba said, "What are you waiting for? Go on, strike." Then, as the hand was just about to come down, Baba said, "Stop. How cruel you are. Being a Brahmin, you are going to kill a goat." Kaka Sahib obeyed and put the knife down and said to Baba, "Your nectar-like word is law unto us, for we do not know any other ordinance. We remember you always, meditate on your form, and obey you day and night. We do not know or consider whether it is right or wrong to kill, and we do not want to reason or discuss things. We implicitly and promptly comply with our Guru's orders. It is our duty and dharma." Then Baba said to Kaka Sahib that he would himself do the offering and killing business. It was settled that the goat would be disposed of near a place called Takya, where fakirs used to sit. When the goat was being taken to that place, it died on the way. Hemad Plant closes the chapter with a classification of disciples. He says that there are three kinds: the best, the mediocre, and the ordinary. The best kind of disciples are those who guess that their gurus want and immediately carry it out and serve them without waiting for an order from them. The mediocre disciples are those who carry out the orders of their guru to the letter without any delay. And the third kind of disciples are those who keep postponing carrying out their orders and make mistakes at every step. Disciples should have firm faith, backed by intelligence, and if they add patience to these, the spiritual goal will not be distant. Control of breath and other difficulty practices is not at all necessary. And the disciples get the above mentioned qualities, they become ready for further instructions, and the master then appear and lead them on their spiritual path to perfection. In the next chapter, we will deal with Baba's interesting wit and humor. End of chapter 23. Om Sai Ram. Om Sai Ram. Sai Satcharitra Chapter 24. Topics: Baba's wit and humor, Chanak Leela, Sudhama's story, Anna Chinchanikar versus Mavsi Bai, Baba's dependence on his bhaktas. Preliminary. To see that we shall state a specific thing in this chapter as a form of egoism. Unless we surrender our ego to the feet of our Sadguru, we will not succeed in our undertaking. If we become egoless, then our success is assured. By worshipping Sai Baba, we attain objects, both worldly and spiritual, and are fixed in our true nature and attain peace and happiness. Therefore, those who are concerned about their welfare should respectfully hear Sai Baba's stories and meditate on them. If they do this, they will easily attain the object of their life and get bliss. Generally, people like wit and humor, but they do not like it when jokes are cut at their expense. But Baba's method was peculiar. When it was accompanied by gestures, it was very interesting and instructive, and people therefore did not mind if jokes were made at their expense. Hemant Pant gives his own instance below. Chanak Leela. In Shirdi, the bazaar was held every Sunday, and people from neighboring villages came there, erected stalls on the streets, and sold their wares. Every noon, the masjid was crowded, but on Sunday it was crowded to suffocation. On one such Sunday, Hemant Pat sat in front of Baba, shampooing his legs and chanting God's name. Shama was on Baba's left, Vaman Rao to his right, and Shriman Bhuti, Kaka Sahib Dikshit, and others were also present there. Then Shama laughed and said to Hemant Pant, "Look, a few grains seem to have stuck to the sleeve of your coat." Saying this, he touched the sleeve and found that there were a few grains stuck there. Hemant Pant straightened his left forearm to see what the matter was, when to everyone's surprise, a few grains of gram fell off and were picked up by the people who were sitting there. This incident supplied the subject matter for a joke. Everybody present began to wonder and said something or the other about how the grains found there were into the sleeve of the coat and had remained there so long. Hemant Pant also could not guess how they had found their way in and stayed there. When nobody could offer a satisfactory explanation, Baba explained. Baba, this fellow, Anna Sahib, has got the bad habit of eating alone. Today is a bazaar day, and he was there chewing grams. I know his habit, and these grams are a proof of it. What wonder is there in this matter? Hemant Pant, Baba, I have never eaten things alone. Then why do you thrust this habit or the bad habit on me? I have never ever seen the Shirdi bazaar, and I never went to the bazaar today. Then how could I buy grams, and how could I eat them if I had not bought them? I never eat anything unless I share it with others present near me. Baba, it is true that you give to the persons present, but if none be nearby, what could you or I do? But do you remember me before eating? Am I not always with you? Then do you offer me anything before you eat? Moral of the story. Let us note carefully what Baba has taught us by this incident. He has advised us that before the senses, mind, and intellect enjoy their objects, he should first be remembered, and if this is done, It is in a way an offering to him. The senses can never remain without their objects, but if those objects are first offered to the Guru, our attachment to them will naturally vanish. In this way, all the vrittis, the thoughts regarding desire, anger, and avarice, should first be offered and directed to the Guru, and if this practice is followed, the Lord will help you in eradicating all the vrittis. When you think of Baba before the enjoyment of such an object, the question of whether the object is fit to be enjoyed will at once arise. Then, the object that is not fit to be enjoyed will be shunned, and in this way, our vicious habits or vices will disappear and our character will improve. Then love for the Guru will grow and pure knowledge will sprout. When this knowledge grows, the bondage of body, consciousness, we are the body, will snap and our intellect will be merged in spirit. Consciousness, we are the spirit. Then we shall get eternal bliss and contentment. There is no difference between the Guru and God. He who sees any difference in them sees God nowhere. So, leaving aside all ideas of difference, we should regard our Guru and God as one. And if we serve our Guru as stated above, the Lord God will certainly be pleased. He will purify our minds and gives a self-realization. To put the matter in a nutshell, we should not enjoy any object with our senses without first remembering our Guru. When the mind is trained in this way, we will always be reminded of Baba and a meditation on Baba will grow. The physical form of Baba will always be before your eyes and devotion. Non-attachment and salvation will be yours. When Baba's form is thus fixed before our mental vision, we forget hunger, thirst, and this samsara. The consciousness of worldly pleasures will disappear and our mind will attain peace and happiness. Sudama's story. When the above story was being narrated, Hemad Pant was reminded of a similar story about Sudama. This story illustrates the same principle and therefore it is given here. Sri Krishna and his elder brother Balarama were living with a classmate named Sudama at the ashram of their guru Sandipani once. Krishna and Balarama were sent to the forest to bring firewood. Sandipani's wife sent Sudama with them, with some quantity of grams for the three to eat. When Krishna and Sudama in the forest, he said to him, "I want water, I am thirsty." Sudama replied, "No water should be drunk on an empty stomach, so it is better to rest a while." He did not tell Krishna that he had grams with him, never offered him some. As Krishna was tired, he lay down to rest with his head on Sudama's lap and soon appeared to be snoring. Seeing this, Sudama took the grams out and began to eat. Then Krishna suddenly asked him, "What are you eating? When is this? What is the sound?" Sudama replied, "What is there to eat? I am shivering because of the cold and my teeth are chattering. I can't even clearly chant the Vishnu Sahasranama." Hearing this, Krishna said, "I just had a dream in which I saw a man eating things of another. And when asked about this, the man said, 'What earth is there to eat?' The other man said, 'Let it be so, Dada. This is only a dream. I know that you won't eat anything without me.' Under the influence of the dream, I asked you what you were eating." If Sudama had known about the omniscient Sri Krishna and his Leelas, he would not have acted as he did. Therefore, he had to suffer for what he did. Though he was a friend of Sri Krishna, he had to pass his later life in utter poverty. But when he later offered Krishna a handful of parched rice earned by his wife with her own labor, Krishna was pleased and gave him a golden city to enjoy. This story should be remembered by those who have the habit of eating things alone without sharing them with others. The Shruti also emphasizes this lesson and asks us to offer things first to God and then enjoy them afterwards. Baba has also taught us the same lesson in his inimitable and humorous ways. Anna Chinchanikar versus Mavsi Bai. Hemant Pant now describes another witty incident in which Baba played the part of a peacemaker. There was a devotee named Damodar Ghanashyam Bhabre alias Anna Chinchanikar. He was simple, rough and straightforward. He cared for nobody, always spoke plainly and carried all dealings in cash. Though he looked harsh and uncompromising on the outside, he was a good-natured human being. Thus, Sai Baba loved him. One day at noon, like others serving Baba in their own way, Anna was standing and shampooing Baba's left arm, which rested on the railing. On the right side, an old widow named Venu Bai Kaujalgi, whom Baba called mother and everyone else called Mavsi Bai, was serving Baba in her own way. Mavsi Bai was an elderly woman with a pure heart. She wrapped her hands around Baba's trunk and was at this time kneading Baba's abdomen. She did this so forcibly that Baba's back and abdomen became flat and Baba rocked from side to side. Anna on the other side was steady, but Mavsi Bai's face moved up and down with her strokes. Once it so happened that her face came very close to Anna's. Being of a witty disposition, she remarked, "Oh my, Anna is a lewd fellow. He wants to kiss me. Despite being so old and grey, he feels no shame in kissing me." These words enraged Anna, and he pulled up his sleeves and said, "You say that? I am an old bad fellow. Am I a fool? It is you who had picked a quarrel with me." Everyone present there was enjoying this encounter between them. Baba, who loved both of them equally and wanted to pacify them, managed the affair very skillfully. He lovingly said, "Oh Anna, why are you unnecessarily raising this hue and cry? I do not understand the harm or impropriety in kissing the mother." Hearing Baba's kind words, both of them were satisfied and everyone laughed merrily. Baba's dependence on his bhaktas. Baba allowed his devotees to serve him in their own way and did not like anyone else interfering in this. To quote an instance, Mavsi Bai was on other occasion kneading Baba's abdomen. Seeing the amount of force she was using, all the other devotees felt rather anxious. They said, "Oh mother, please be more gentle, otherwise you will break Baba's arteries and nerves." As soon as Baba heard this, he got up from his seat and dashed his satka on the ground. He got enraged and his eyes became red like live coal. No one dared to stand before or face Baba. Then he took hold of one end of the satka with both the hands and pressed it into his abdomen. He pressed the others and against a post and began to push hard onto it. The satka, which was about 2 or 3 feet in length, seemed to go into the abdomen, and people feared that the abdomen would rupture at any moment. The post was fixed and immovable, and Baba began to get closer and closer to it and clasped the post firmly. The rupture was expected at any moment, and they were all dismayed and did not know what to do. They stood around anxiously with wonder and fear. Baba suffered this ordeal for the sake of his devotees. The other devotees wanted only to give a hint to Mavsi Bai to be moderate in her service and not cause any trouble or pain to Baba. They did this with good intentions, but Baba would not even tolerate this. They were shocked to see that their well-intentioned efforts had resulted in this catastrophe, and they could do nothing but wait and watch. Fortunately, Baba's rage subsided. He let go of the satka and resumed his seat. From this time onwards, the devotees learned the lesson that they should not meddle in anybody's service, but should allow them to serve Baba as they choose. Since Baba was capable of gauging the merits and value of the service rendered unto him. End of chapter 24. Om Sai Ram. Om Sai Ram. Sai Satcharitra Chapter 25. Topics: Damo Annakasa's speculation, Amralila, miracle of the mangoes. Preliminary. We begin this chapter with a bow with all our 8 limbs to Sai Baba, who is an ocean of mercy, the God of incarnate, the Parabrahma, and the great Yogeshwara. Victory be unto Sai Baba, who is the crest jewel of the saints, the home of all auspicious things, our Atmaram, and the able refuge of his devotees. We prostrate ourselves before him, who has attained the aim and end of life. Sai Baba is always full of mercy. What is wanted on our paths is the wholehearted devotion to him. When a devotee has got firm faith and devotion, his wishes are soon fulfilled. When the desires arose in Hemant Pant's mind to write the life and leelas of Sai Baba, Baba immediately got it written by him. When the order to keep memos was given, Hemant Pant was inspired, his intellect acquired the strength, and he had the boldness to undertake and finish the work. He was not, he says, qualified to write the work, but the gracious blessings of Baba enabled him to complete the undertaking, and thus you have this Satcharithra, which is a Somakand jewel. From this jewel, nectar in the form of Sai Leela oozes out for the readers to drink to their heart's content. Whenever a devotee has complete and wholehearted devotion to Sai Baba, all his calamities and dangers are warded off and his welfare is attended by Baba. The story of Damodar Savalram Risain of Ahmednagar, alias Damu Anna, illustrating the above statement is given below. Damu Anna. The readers may remember that this gentleman was mentioned in the chapter 6 with regards to the celebration of Ramanavami festival in Shirdi. He went to Shirdi around the year 1895 when the Ramanavami celebration began, and from that time on he provided an ornamental flag for the festival for several years. He also fed the poor who came there for the festival. His speculations. Cotton. A broker who knew Damu Anna wrote to him that they should work in partnership on a cotton speculation business, which would bring them about 200,000 rupees as profit. Damu Anna says in a statement made around the year of 1936 to Mr. B.V. Narasimha Swami that the proposal to speculate in cotton was from a broker who was not to be a partner and that he was to be the sole adventurer. The broker wrote that the business was good and involved no risks and that the opportunity should not be lost. Damu Anna was considering this opportunity. He could not at once determine whether to venture into these speculations. He thought about this, and as he was a devotee of Baba, he wrote a detailed letter to Shama explaining all the facts and requested him to consult Baba and he get his advice in this matter. Shama got the letter and the next day and he came with it at noon to the masjid and placed it before Baba. Baba asked Shama what's that matter was and what the letter was about. Shama replied that Damu Anna wanted to consult him about something. Then Baba said, what does he write and what does he plan? It seems that he wants to reach the sky and that he is not content with the God has given him. Read this letter. Shama then said, the letter contains what you just said. O Deva, you sit here calm and composed and agitate devotees, and when they get restless, you draw them here. Some in person and others through letters. If you know the contents of the letter, why do you then press me to read it? Baba said, O Shama, please read it. I speak at random and who believes me? Then Shama read the letter and Baba heard it attentively and said with great emotion, Damu Anna has gone mad. Write him a reply that nothing is wanting in this house. Let him be content with the half loaf he has now and let him not bother about hundreds of thousands of rupees. Shama sent the reply which Damu Anna was anxiously waiting for. Upon reading it, found that all his hopes and prospects about grand profits were dashed. He thought that he had made a mistake in consulting Baba. But as Shama had hinted in the reply, there was always a big difference between seeing and hearing, and therefore he should come to Shirdi personally and see Baba. He thought it advisable to go to Shirdi and consult Baba personally about the affair. So he went to Shirdi, saw Baba, prostrated himself before him, and sat shampooing Baba's legs. He had no courage to ask Baba openly about the speculation, but he thought that it would be better if some share in the business he given to Baba, if Baba were to help him in the transaction. Damu Anna was thus thinking about this, and yet nothing was veiled from Baba. Everything about the past, present, and the future were crystal clear to him. A child wants sweets, but its mother gives it bitter medicine. The former spoils its health, while the latter improves it. So the mother, looking after the welfare of her infant, coaxes it and gives it medicine. Baba, the kind mother that he was, knew the present and future prospects of his devotees and therefore read Damu Anna's mind and said, Bapu, I do not want to be entangled in any such worldly things. Seeing Baba's disapproval, Damu Anna dropped the enterprise. Grain. Then he thought of trading in rice wheat, and other grains. Baba read this thought too and said to him, "You will be buying at 5 years and selling at 7 years a rupee." So this business was also abandoned. The rise in the prices of grain was kept up for some time, and Baba's prophecy seemed to be false. But in a month or two, there was abundant rain everywhere, and the prices suddenly fell. Therefore, those who stored grain suffered a severe loss. Damu Anna was saved from this fate. Needless to say, the cotton speculation, which was conducted by the broker with the help of another merchant, also collapsed with a severe loss to the investors. After saying that Baba had saved him from two severe losses in cotton and grain speculation, Damu Anna's faith in Baba grew strong and he remained a true devotee. Amra Leela, the miracle of the mangoes. Once a parcel of about 300 good mangoes was received at Shirdi. It was sent from Goa by a Mamaldar named Rail to Sai Baba, and the package was addressed to Shama. When it was opened, all the mangoes were found to be in good condition. They were left in Shama's charge and only four were retained and placed in a pot by Baba. He then said, "These four fruits are for Damu Anna, let them remain here." Damu Anna had two wives and had no children at that point. He had consulted many astrologers, studied astrology to some extent, and found that as there was an inauspicious planet in his horoscope, there was no prospect of having children in this life. But he had great faith in Baba. When he went to Shirdi 2 hours after the recipient of the mango parcel, Baba said, "Though other people are looking for the mangoes, they are Damu Annas. The person whom they are meant for should eat them and die." Damu Anna, on hearing these words, was first shocked, but when Malasapati, a prominent Shirdi devotee, explained to him that death meant the death of the little self of ego, he said that he would accept the fruits and eat them, but Baba said to him, "Do not eat them alone, share them with your youngest wife." The Amra Leela, miracle of four mangoes, will give her four sons and four daughters. This was done, and ultimately it was found that Baba's words turned out true and not those of the astrologers. Baba's speech established its efficacy while he was living in the flesh, but it also did the same even after his passing away. Baba said, "Believe me, that though I will pass away, the bones in my tomb will give you hope and confidence. My tomb will be speaking, moving, and communicating with those who surrender themselves wholeheartedly to me. Do not be anxious that I will be absent from your life. You will hear my bones speaking about and discussing your welfare, but remember me always. Believe in me, heart and soul, and then you will benefit greatly." In this regard, the following extract from Damu Anna's statement is worth reading. "Once, when I sat at his feet, I had two questions in my mind, and he gave answers to both. There are so many who came to Sai Baba. Are they all benefited from seeing him?" To this he replied, "Look at the mango tree in blossom. If all the flowers bore fruit, what a splendid crop it would be. But do they? Most fall off, either as flowers or as unripe fruits. Very few remain." The second question was about myself. If Baba were to pass away, how hopelessly adrift would I be, and how am I to fare then? To this Baba answered that he would be with me whenever and wherever I thought of him. That was a promise he kept up before 1918 and has been keeping up after 1918. He's still with me, he is still guiding me. This was about 1910 to 1911 when my brother separated from me. My sister died. There was a theft in my house and a resulting police inquiry, all of which upset me very much. I was most upset when my sister died. I did not care for life and enjoyment. When I went to Baba, he pacified me with his upadesh and made me eat a feast of Puran Poli at Appa Kulkarni's house, had sandal paste applied to my body. Then there was a theft in my house. A close friend of mine stole my wife's jewelry box, including her auspicious nose ring. I wept before Baba's photo. The next day, the man returned the jewelry box and prayed for forgiveness. Prayer. Hemant Plant closes this chapter with a prayer. O Sai Sadguru, the wish fulfilling tree of the Bhaktas, let us never forget and lose sight of your feet. We have been troubled by the ins and outs, births and deaths in this samsara. Now, free us from the cycle of births and deaths, restrain us from the outgoing nature of our senses to their objects, and introvert us and bring us face to face with the Atma. As long as this outgoing tendency of the senses and the mind is not checked, there is no prospect of self realization. Neither son, wife, nor friend will be of any use in the end. It is only you who will give us salvation and happiness, destroy completely our tendency for discussions and other evil matters, and let our tongue get a passion for chanting your name. Drive out our thoughts, goods or otherwise, make us forget our bodies and houses, and do away with our egoism. Make us always remember your name and forget all other things. Remove the restlessness of our mind and make it steady and calm. If you clasp us, the darkness of our ignorance will vanish and we shall live happily in our light. The fact that you made us drink the nectar of your Leelas and awakened us from our slumber is due to your grace and our store of merits in our past births. End of chapter 25. Om Sai Ram. Om Sai Ram. Welcome to Living Spiritually. Sai Satcharitra Chapter 26. The stories of Bhakta Pant, Harishchandra Pitale, and Gopal Ambadekar. Preliminary. All the things that we see in the universe are nothing but Maya's games, the creative power of the Lord. These things do not really exist. What really exists is the real absolute. Just as we mistake a rope for a garland or a stick for a serpent in the darkness, we always see things as they outwardly appear and not as what underlies all those visible things. It is only the Sadguru who opens the eyes of our understanding and enables us to see things in their true light and not as they appear. Let us therefore worship the Sadguru and pray to him to give us true vision, which is God's vision. Inner worship. Hemant Pant has given us a novel form of worship. Let us, he says, use warm water in the form of tears of joy to wash the Sadguru's feet. Let us besimmer his body with the sandal paste of pure love. Let us cover his body with the cloth of true faith. Let us offer 8 lotuses in the form of our 8 sattvic emotions and fruit in the form of our concentrated mind, and let us apply to his head bukka, the black powder, in the form of devotion, and tie the waistband of bhakti and place our head on his feet. After decorating the Sadguru with jewelry in this way, let us offer our all to him and wave the fan of devotion to ward off the heat. After such blissful worship, let us pray thus: introvert our mind, turn it inward, help us to discriminate between the unreal and real, and attain non-attachment for all worldly things, and thus enable us to attain self-realization. We surrender ourselves, body and soul, to you. Make our eyes yours so that we shall never feel pleasure and pain. Control our body and mind as you wish. Let our mind attain peace at your feet. Let us now turn to the stories of this chapter. Bhakta Pant. Once it so happened that a devotee named Pant, a disciple of another Sadguru, had the good fortune of visiting Shirdi. He had no desire to go to Shirdi, but man proposes one way and God disposes the other. He was traveling in a train where he met many friends bound for Shirdi. They all asked him to accompany them and he could not refuse. They alighted at Bombay while Pant got down at Virar. There he asked the Sadguru for permission to go to Shirdi, and after arranging for the expenses, left with his friends for Shirdi. They all reached the place in the morning and went to the masjid at about 11 a.m. Upon seeing the concourse of devotees assembled for Baba's worship, They were all pleased, but Pant suddenly had a fit and fainted. They were all frightened, but they tried their best to bring him to his senses. With Baba's grace and with pitchers of water poured over his head, he regained his consciousness and sat upright, as if he had just been awakened from deep sleep. Baba, knowing that he was a disciple of another Guru, assured him fearlessness and confirmed his faith in his own Guru by addressing him as follows: Come, what may stick to you, bolster, and always remain steady and in union with him. Pant at once knew the significance of this remark, and thus he was reminded of his Sadguru. He never forgot Baba's kindness in this regard. Harishchandra Pitale. There was a gentleman named Harishchandra Pitale who lived in Bombay. He had a son who suffered from epilepsy. He tried many allopathic and Ayurvedic doctors but was unable to cure his son's epilepsy. They reminded only one remedy, resorting to the saints. It has been stated in chapter 15 that Das Ganu, by his inimitable and splendid kirtanas are the songs in praise of Lord, spread Sai Baba's fame in the Bombay Presidency. Mr. Pitale heard some of these kirtanas in 1910 and learned their form, and from others that Baba, by his touch and mere glance, cured many incurable diseases. Then a desire arose in his mind to see Sai Baba. After making the necessary preparation, which included presents and fruit basket for Baba, Mr. Pitale came to Shirdi with his wife and children. He went to the masjid with them, prostrated before Baba, and placed his sick son at Baba's feet. As soon as the child was placed before Baba, the child immediately rolled his eyes and fell down senseless. His mouth began to foam and his whole body began to perspire profusely, and it seemed as if he had breathed himself out. Seeing this, the parents became very nervous. The boy used to get such fits very often, but this fit seemed to last much longer. Tears began to flow ceaselessly from the mother's eyes, and she began to wail, crying that her condition was like that of a person who, being afraid of robbers, ran into a house which collapsed on him, or like a cow who, fearing a tiger, ran into the hands of a butcher, or like a traveler who, being tormented by the heat of the sun, took refuge under a tree which fell on him. Then Baba comforted her, saying, Do not wail like this. Wait a bit and have patience. Take the boy to your lodging. He will come to see his senses within half an hour. They did as directed by Baba and found that his words came true. As soon as he was taken to the Wada, the boy recovered, and the whole Pitale family was very delighted, and all their doubts disappeared. Then Mr. Pitale came with his wife to see Baba and prostrated himself before Baba. He very humbly and respectfully sat shampooing Baba's legs, mentally thanking Baba for his help. Baba then smilingly said, Aren't all your thoughts, doubts, and apprehensions calm now? The Lord would protect those who have faith and patience. Mr. Pitale was a rich and well-to-do gentleman. He distributed sweets on a large scale and gave Baba excellent fruits and pan. Mrs. Pitale was a very simple, loving, and faithful lady. She used to sit near the post, staring at Baba's with tears of joy flowing from her eyes. Seeing that she had an amicable and loving nature, Baba was very pleased with her. Like gods, saints are always dependent on their devotees who surrender and worship them with their heart and soul. After spending a few happy days in Baba's company, the Pitale family came to the masjid to ask for Baba's leave. Baba gave them the udi and blessings and called Mr. Pitale close and said to him, Babu, I had given you 2 rupees a while back, and now I give you 3. Keep this in your shrine for worship and you will be benefited. Mr. Pitale accepted this as prasad, prostrated himself again before Baba, and prayed for his blessings. He was puzzled by the fact that this was his first trip to Shirdi and could not understand what Baba meant. When he said that he had given him 2 rupees previously, he was curious to have this mystery solved, but Baba never explained. When Mr. Pitale returned to Bombay, he narrated to his old mother all that had happened at Shirdi and the mystery about Baba giving him 2 rupees previously. The mother too did not understand the mystery initially, but upon thinking about it more seriously, she was reminded of an old incident which solved the mystery. She said to her son, "As you now went to Sai Baba with your son, so had your father. He took you to Akkalkot for the darshana of the Maharaj many years ago. That Maharaj was also a Siddha, a perfect yogi. Your father was pure and devout, and his worship was accepted. He then gave your father 2 rupees to keep in the shrine and worship. Your father worshipped them accordingly till his death, but thereafter the worship was neglected and the rupees were lost. After a few years, the memory of these 2 rupees also disappeared. And now, as you are very fortunate, the Akkalkotkar Maharaj has appeared to you in the form of Sai Baba, just to remind you of your duties and worship and to ward off all dangers. Now beware, henceforth live off all doubts and bad thoughts, follow the path of your ancestors and behave well. Go on worshipping the family god and the rupees and take pride in the blessings of the saints. Sai Samartha has kindly revived the spirit of bhakti in you. Cultivate it to your benefit." Hearing his mother's remarks, Mr. Pitale was very delighted. He was convinced about Baba's all significance of his darshana. From that time on, he became very careful about his behavior. Mr. Ambadekar. Mr. Gopal Narayan of Pune was Baba's devotee. He worked for 10 years in the Abkari department in the Thane district, from where he had to retire. He tried to get another job but did not succeed. He was overtaken by other calamities and his condition grew from bad to worst. He endured 7 years in this condition, visiting Shirdi every year and placing his grievances before Baba. In 1916, his situation got to its worst point and he decided to commit suicide in Shirdi. So he came there with his wife and been living there for 2 months. One night, while sitting in a bullock cart in front of Dikshit's Vada, he decided to end his life by throwing himself into a nearby well. He proposed to do one thing, but Baba had another plans for him. Just a few paces from this place, there was a hotel whose proprietor was a man named Mr. Sagun. Just as Mr. Ambadekar was thinking about ending his life, Sagun approached Ambadekar with a book in hand and said, "Have you ever read about the Akkalkot Maharaj's life?" Ambadekar took the book from Sagun and began to read it. Casually, or we may say providently, he came across a story which was to his effect. During the lifetime of Akkalkot Maharaj, a certain devotee suffered very much from an incurable disease, and when he could no longer endure the agony and pain, he became desperate and to end his miseries threw himself into a well one night. Immediately, the Maharaj appeared and took him out with his own hands and advised him thus: "You must enjoy the fruit, good or bad, of your past actions. If the enjoyment is incomplete, suicide won't help you. You will have to take another birth and suffer again. So instead of killing yourself, why not suffer for some time, exhaust the store of fruit of your past deeds, and be done with it once and for all?" Upon reading this appropriate and timely story, Ambadekar was very surprised and moved. Had he not got Baba's hint through the story, he would have been no more. On seeing Baba's all pervasiveness and benevolence, his faith in Baba was confirmed. He became a staunch devotee. His father was a devotee of Akkalkot Maharaj, and Sai Baba wanted him to walk in his father's footsteps and continue his devotion to him. He then got Sai Baba's blessings, and his prospects began to improve. He studied astrology and gained proficiency in it, and thereby improved his lot. He was able to earn sufficient money and passed his later life in ease and comfort. End of chapter 26. Om Sai Ram. Om Sai Ram. Welcome to Living Spiritually. Sai Satcharitra Chapter 27. Topics: Granting a consecrated book, Baba's blessings in the form of Bhagavat and Vishnu Sahasranama, Dikshit's Vittal vision, Gita Rahasya, the Kharpadis. This chapter describes how Sai Baba blessed his devotees by granting them religious books after he had consecrated them, and a few other stories. Preliminary: when a man dives into the sea, he gets the merit of bathing in all sacred rivers. Similarly, when a man takes refuge at the feet of Sadguru, he gets the merit of bowing to the Trinity, that is, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. May victory be unto Sri Sai, the wish-fulfilling tree and the ocean of knowledge, who gives us self-realization. O Sai, create in us a regard for your stories, and the readers devote them with the same relish with which the chatak bird drinks water from the clouds and becomes happy. While listening to your stories, let them and their families get all the sattvic emotions. Let their bodies perspire. Let their eyes be full of tears. Let their prana be steady. Let their minds be composed. Let their let their hair stand on end. Let them cry, sob, and shake, and let their hostilities and distinctions vanish. If these things happen, that is the sign of the grace of the Guru dawning upon them. When these emotions develop in you, the Guru is gently pleased and will certainly lead you on to the goal of self-realization. The best way, therefore, to free yourself from the shackles of Maya is completely and wholeheartedly surrender to Baba. The Vedas cannot take you across the oceans of Maya. It is only the Sadguru who can do so and make you see the Lords in all creatures. Granting a consecrated book, the variety of the methods by which Baba imparted advice has already been mentioned in the previous chapters. In this one, we shall deal with one such method. It was the habit of some devotees to bring religious books they wanted to study to Baba to have them consecrated by him. While reading such books every day, they felt that Baba was with them. Kaka Mahajani came to Shirdi with a copy of the Ekanti Bhagavat. Shama borrowed the book to read it and took it with him when he went to the masjid. There, Baba took it from him, touched it, and after flipping through a few pages, gave it back to Shama, asked him to keep it with him. When Shama said that it belonged to Kaka and that it had to be returned, Baba said, No, I have given it to you and you better keep it with you for safe custody. It will be of use to you. In this way, many books were entrusted to Shama. Kaka Mahajani, after a few days, brought another copy of the Bhagavat and gave it to Baba. Baba then gave it back as prasad and asked him to preserve it well and assured him that it would benefit him greatly. Kaka accepted it with a bow. Shama and the Vishnu Sahasranama. Shama was a very close devotee, and Baba wanted to bless him by giving him a copy of the Vishnu Sahasranama as prasad. This was done in the following way. Once a Ramadasi, follower of the saint Ramdas, came to Shirdi and stayed there for some time. Every day he woke up early in the morning, washed his face, bathed, and then, after wearing saffron colored clothes and besmearing himself with the sacred ashes, read the Vishnu Sahasranama, a book that gives 1,000 names in praise of the Lord Vishnu, held second in importance to the Bhagavad Gita and the Adhyatma Ramayana with faith. After a few days, Baba thought of favoring and initiating Shama with the Vishnu Sahasranama. He therefore called the Ramdasi and said to him that he was suffering from intense stomach pain and that unless he took Senapods, a mild purgative drug, the pain would not stop. And thus he requested the Ramdasi to go to the bazaar and bring the drug. The Ramdasi closed his book and went to the bazaar. Then Baba descended from his seat, came to where the Ramdasi had been sitting, and took the copy of Vishnu Sahasranama. Then he returned to his seat and said to Shama, "O Shama, this book is very valuable. So I present it to you. You must read it. I once suffered intensely and my heart began to palpitate and my life was in danger. At that critical time, I hugged this book close to my heart, and then Shama, what relief it gave me, saved me. I thought that God Himself had come down and saved me. So I give this to you. Read it slowly and read one name at least daily, and it will do you good." Shama replied that he did not want it, and that its owner, the Ramdasi, who was a mad, obstinate, and irritable fellow, would certainly pick a quarrel with him for taking the books. Besides, as he was a rustic, he could not clearly read the Sanskrit letters in the book. Shama thought that Baba wanted to set him up against the Ramdasi by this act of his, but he had no idea of what Baba felt for him. Baba wanted to tie his necklace of the Vishnu Sahasranama around Shama's neck as he was an intimate devotee and thereby save him from the miseries of the worldly existence. The efficacy of God's name is well known. It saves us from all sins and bad tendencies and frees us from the cycle of births and deaths. There is no easier sadhana than this. It is the best purifier of our mind. It requires no paraphernalia and no restrictions. It is so easy and so effective. Baba wanted Shama to practice this sadhana, so Baba forced this on him. It is believed that long ago, Eknath Maharaj similarly forced the Vishnu Sahasranama on a poor Brahmin neighbor and thus saved him. The reading and the study of the Vishnu Sahasranama is a broad and open way of purifying the mind, and hence Baba thrust his on his Shama. The Ramadasi soon returned with the Senapods. Anna Chinchanikar, who was then present and who wanted to play the part of Narada, the celestial sage who was notorious for setting up quarrels between gods and demons, informed the Ramdasi of what had happened. The Ramdasi at once flared up. He came down on Shama with all his fury. He said that it was Shama who had asked Baba to send him away under the pretext of a stomach ache and thus took the book. He began to scold and abuse Shama and remarked if the book was not returned, he would dash his head before him. Shama calmly remonstrated with him, but in vain. Then Baba spoke kindly to him as follows. "O Ramdasi, what is the matter with you? Why are you so turbulent? Is not Shama a boy? Why do you scold him unnecessarily? How is it that you are so quarrelsome? Can you not speak soft and sweet words? You read these sacred books daily, and yet your mind is impure and your passion uncontrolled. What sort of a Ramdasi are you? You ought to be indifferent to all things. Is it not strange that you should covet his books so strongly? A true Ramdasi should have no mamata, attachment, but should have samata, equally towards everything. You are now quarreling with Shama for a mere book. Go and take your seat. Books can be had in plenty, but not men. Think carefully and be considerate. What is your book worth? Shama had no concern with it. I took it myself and gave it to him. You know it in your art. I thought Shama might read it and profit thereby, and so I gave it to him. How sweet were Baba's words, soft, tender, and nectar-like. Their effect was wonderful. The Ramdasi calmed down and said to Shama that he would take the Panchratni Gita in return. Shama was very pleased and said, "Why one? I shall give you 10 copies in return." So the matter was ultimately settled. The question of consideration is, why should the Ramdasi press for the Pancharatni Gita, the god in which he never cared to know? And why should he, who read religious books in the masjid every day in front of Baba, quarrel with Shama? We do not know how to apportion the blame and whom to blame. We can only say that had this not happened, the importance of the subject, the efficacy of God's name, and the study of the Vishnu Sahasranama would not have been brought home to Shama. So we see that Baba's method of teaching and initiating was unique. In this case, Shama gradually studied the book and mastered its contents to such an extent that he was able to explain it to the professor Gigi Narke, the son-in-law of Sriman Bhuti and a devotee of Baba. Dikshit's Vittal vision. One day, while Kaka Sahib Dikshit was meditating after a morning bath in his vada at Shirdi, he saw a vision of Vittal. When he went to see Baba afterwards, Baba asked him, "Did Vittal Patil come?" "Did you not see him? He is very elusive. Hold him fast, otherwise he will give you the slip and run away." Then at noon, a hawker came here to sell pictures of Vittal. Mr. Dikshit was surprised to see that the form of Vittal he saw in his vision exactly matched that in the picture, and he was also reminded of Baba's words. He therefore brought a picture willingly and kept it in a shrine for worship. Gita Rahasya. Baba always loved and encouraged those who studied Brahma Vidya. Bapu Sahib Jog once received a parcel via post. It contained a copy of the Gita Rahasya by Lokamanya Tilak. Carrying it under his armpit, he came to the masjid and prostrated himself before Baba. The parcel accidentally fell at Baba's feet. Baba asked him, "What is it?" It was opened and the book was placed in Baba's hands. He paged through the book casually for a few minutes and took a rupee from his pocket, placed it on the book and handed both to Joe and said to him, "Read this in its entirety and you will benefit greatly." Mr. and Mrs. Karpade. Let us close this chapter with the descriptions of the Karpades. Dada Sahib Karpade once came with his family and lived in Shirdi for a few months. The diary of this day has been published in English in the Sri Sai Leela magazine, volume 1. Dada Sahib was not an ordinary man. He was the richest and among famous advocate in Amravati and was a member of the Council of State, Delhi. He was very intelligent and a very good speaker. Yet he dared not open his mouth before Baba. Most devotees spoke and argued with Baba, but only three of them, Kharpade, Nulkar, and Bhuti, always kept quiet. They were meek, modest, humble, and good natured. Dada Sahib could not expound the Panchadashi, a well-known Sanskrit treatise on the Advaita philosophy by the famous Vidyaranya, to others and said nothing when he came to the masjid was before Baba. In reality, a man, however learned he may be, fades away before one who has realized the Brahma and become one with it. Learning cannot shine before self-realization. Dada Sahib stayed for 4 months, but Mrs. Karpade stayed for 7. Both were highly pleased with their Shirdi stay. Mrs. Karpade was faithful and devout and loved Baba deeply. Every noon she brought Naivedya to the masjid. After it was accepted by Baba, she used to return and have her meals. Seeing her steady and firm devotion, Baba wanted to acknowledge it in front of everyone. One day she bought a dish containing sanza, that's the wheat pudding, puris, rice, soup, kheer, rice pudding, and a few other items to the masjid. Papa, who usually awaited for hours before eating anything, immediately got up, went up to his dining seat, and removing the outer cover from the dish, began to partake of the food zealously. Shama then asked him, Why this partiality? You throw away the dishes others bring and do not care to take look at them, but this you draw to you earnestly and so justice to it. Why is the dish of this woman so sweet? This is a problem for us, Baba then explained. Thus, food is really extraordinary. In a former birth, this lady was a merchant's fat cow that yielded a lot of milk. Then she passed on and took birth in the gardener's family, then in Kshatriya's family, and then married a merchant. Later, she was reborn in a Brahmin family. I'm meeting her after a long time. So let me take some sweet morsels of love from her dish. Seeing this, Baba did full justice to her dish, washed his mouth and hands, belched as a mark of satisfaction, and resumed his seat. Then she bowed before Baba and began to shampoo Baba's legs, and Baba began to talk to her and knead her arms, which were shampooing his legs. On seeing this reciprocal service, Shama began to joke and said, "It is going on well. It is a wonderful sight to see the god and his devotees serving each other." Pleased with her sincere service, Baba asked her in a low and fascinating tone to constantly chant the words Raja Rama, Raja Rama. And then Baba said, if you do this, your life's object will be gained. Your mind will attain peace and you will benefit immensely. To persons unfamiliar with the spiritual matters, this might appear to be an affair, but this was not so. It was a case of what it technically called Shaktipat, the transference of power from the Guru to the disciple. How forcible and effective were Baba's words. In an instant, they pierced her heart and found a place there. This case illustrates the nature of the relations that should exist between the Guru and the disciple. Both should love and serve each other as one. There is no distinction of difference between them. Both are one and the same, and one cannot live without the other. The disciple placing his head on the Guru's feet is an outward vision. In reality, they are both one and the same. Those who see any difference between them are yet unripe and not perfect. End of chapter 27. Om Sai Ram. Om Sai Ram. Welcome to Living Spiritually. Sai Satcharitra Chapter 28. Topics: Sparrows drawn to Shirdi. Lakshmi Chand, the lady from Burhanpur, and Megha. Preliminary: Sai is not finite or limited. He dwells in all beings, from ants and insects to the god Brahma. He pervades every being on earth. Sai was well versed in the knowledge of the Vedas as well as in the science of self realization. As he was proficient in these, he was well suited to be a Sadguru. Any person, however learned, unable to awaken disciples and establish them in self realization, does not deserve to be a Sadguru. The Sadguru does weigh away with both life and death. Thus, he is more kind and merciful than anybody. Sai Baba often said that no matter where his devotee went, he would be drawn to Shirdi like a sparrow with a thread tied to its feet. This chapter describes the story of three such sparrows. Lala Lakshmi Chand. This gentleman first worked in the railways and afterwards in the Sri Venkateshwara Press in Bombay and thereafter in the firm of Messrs. Raleigh Brothers as a clerk. He received Baba's darshan in 1910. A month or two before Christmas, he had a dream in which an old man with a beard was standing surrounded by his devotees. A few days later, he went to the house of his friend, Mr. Dattatreya Manjunath Bijur, to hear kirtans by Das Ganu. It was Das Ganu's practice to keep Baba's picture in front of him, facing the audience, while he sang kirtanas. Kirtanas are the songs in praise of the Lord. Lakshmi Chand was surprised to see that the old man he saw in his dream was the man in the picture. Thus, he came to the conclusion that the old man he saw in his dream was Sai Baba himself. The sight of this picture, Das Ganu's Kirtan and the life of the saint Tukaram on which Das Ganu discoursed all made a deep impression on his mind, and he launched to go to Shirdi. It is always the experience of devotees that God always helps them in the search for a Guru, Sadguru and other spiritual endeavors. That very night at 8 p.m., a friend named Shankar Rao knocked on Lakshmi Chand's door and asked him whether he would accompany him to Shirdi. His joy knew no bounds, and he at once decided to go to Shirdi. He borrowed some money from his cousin and, after making due preparations, left to Shirdi. On the train, he and his friend Shankar Rao sang some bhajans and inquired about Sai Baba with a few fellow passengers who were returning to their homes near Shirdi. They all said that Sai Baba was a great saint who had been living in Shirdi for many years. When they reached Kopargaon, he wanted to buy some guavas to offer to Baba, but he was so distracted by the scenery and sights that he forgot to purchase them. When they were nearing Shirdi, he was reminded of the guavas. Just then, he saw an old man with a basket of guavas on her head running after the tanga. Tanga is a small horse drawn cart in which he was traveling. The tanga was stopped and he gladly purchased a few select fruits, and then the woman said, "Take the rest and offer them on my behalf to Baba." The fact that he had intended to purchase guavas but that he had forgotten to do so, the old woman running after the tanga and her devotion to Baba surprised both men. However, Lakshmi Chand reasoned that the old woman might be some relative of Sai Baba's. Then they drove on and reached Shirdi. With puja materials in hand, they went to the masjid and worshipped Baba with due formality. Lakshmi Chand was greatly moved and was extremely happy to see Baba. He was entrapped with Baba's feet as a bee is with a sweet smelling lotus. When Baba spoke as follows, "Cunning fellow, he sings bhajans on the way and inquires from others. Why ask others? Shouldn't we see everything with our own eyes? What is the necessity to ask others? Just ask yourself whether your dream was true or not. What was the necessity of darshan when a loan had to be received to taken to receive it? Is the heart's desire now satisfied?" Hearing these words, Lakshmi Chand was wonderstruck at Baba's omniscience. He was at a loss to know how Baba came to know about all the things that had happened on his way to Shirdi. The main thing to note in the respect is that Baba never liked people running into debt to receive his darshan, to celebrate a holiday, or to go on a pilgrimage. Sanza. One day at noon, when Lakshmi Chand was waiting for meals to be served, he got some wheat pudding, sanza, from a devotee as prasad. He was pleased to have it. The next day he expected it again but got nothing. So he was anxious to receive it again. Then on the third day, during the noon arti, Bapu Sahib Jog asked Baba what naivedya he should bring. Baba said him to bring sanza, that is the wheat pudding. Then the devotee brought two big pots full of sanza. Lakshmi Chand was very hungry and there was some pain in the back. Then Baba said to him, "It is good that you are hungry. Have some sanza and take some medicine for the pain in your back." He was wonderstruck to see that Baba again read his mind and spoke what was passing therein. How omniscient he was. Evil eye. On one occasion, Lakshmi Chand witnessed the procession of the Chavdi. Baba was suffering from a severe cough. Lakshmi Chand felt that Baba's ailment might be due to somebody's evil eye. The next morning, when Lakshmi Chand went to masjid, Baba said to Shama, I suffered last night from a cough. It is due to an evil eye. I think that somebody's evil eye has worked on me, and thus I'm suffering. In this case, Baba figured out what was passing in Lakshmi Chand's mind. On seeing the proof of Baba's omniscience and kindness to his bhaktas, he fell prostrate at Baba's feet and said, I am greatly pleased with your darshan. Always be kind and merciful to me and protect me always. There is no other God for me in the world except you. Let my mind always be wrapped in your bhajan and feet. Let your grace protect me from the miseries of the world and let me always chant your name and be happy. After receiving Baba's odia and blessings, he returned home with his friend. Pleased and content, and singing Baba's glory on the way, he remained a staunch devotee of Baba afterwards and always sent garlands of flowers, camphor, and dakshina with any acquaintance bound for Shirdi. The other devotee, the lady from Burhanpur. Now let us turn to another sparrow. Baba's word referring to a devotee. A lady in Burhanpur dreamt of Sai Baba coming to her door and begging for khichdi. Khichdi is a rice cooked with dal and salt. On awakening, she found nobody at her door. However, she was pleased with the vision and told her husband about it. He was employed in the postal department and when he was transferred to Akola. Both husband and wife who were devout decided to go to Shirdi. On a suitable day, they left to Shirdi and after visiting the Gomati Tirth on the way, reached Shirdi and stayed there for 2 months. Every day they went to masjid, performed Baba's worship and passed their time happily. The couple came to Shirdi to offer khichdi as Naivedya, but for the first 14 days, for some or the other reason, it could not be offered. The lady did not like this delay. Then on the 15th day, she came at noon to the masjid with her khichdi. There she found that Baba and others were already seated and ready to have their meals and that the curtain was down. Nobody usually dared to enter when the curtain was down. But the lady could not wait. She pushed the curtain aside and entered. Strangely enough, Baba seemed to want khichdi that day, and when the lady came in with the dish, Baba was delighted and ate every bit of the khichdi served to him. On seeing Baba's earnestness in this respect, everybody was wonderstruck, and those who heard the story of the khichdi were convinced about his extraordinary love for his devotees. Megha. Now let us go to the third and the biggest of the sparrows, Megha. Megha was a simple and illiterate Brahmin cook who worked for a man named Rao Bahadur H.V. Sate. He was a devotee of Shiva and always chanted the 5-syllabled mantra Om Namah Shivaya. He did not know the Sandhya or its chief mantra, the Gayatri. Rao Bahadur Sate was interested in helping him and taught him the Sandhya and the Gayatri. Sate told him that Sai Baba was the embodied form of the Lord Shiva and convinced him to visit Shirdi. At the railway station, he learned that Sai Baba was a Muslim and his simple and orthodox mind was very perturbed at the prospect of bowing to a Muslim. So he pleaded with his boss not to send him to Shirdi. His boss, however, insisted on his going there and gave him a letter of introduction to his Sate's father-in-law, Ganesh Damodar alias Dada Kelkar. When he reached Shirdi and went to the masjid, Baba was very indignant and would not allow him to enter. Kick this rascal out, wrote Baba, and then said to Megha, You are a high caste Brahmin and I am a low Muslim. You will lose your caste by coming here, so go away. Hearing these words, Megha began to tremble. He was astonished to ask how did Baba come to know about what was passing in his mind. He stayed there for a few days serving Baba in his own way, but was not convinced. Then he went home and after that went to Trayambak, Nasik district, and stayed there for a year and a half. Then he again returned to Shirdi. This time, at the intercession of Dada Kelkar, he was allowed to enter the masjid and stay in Shirdi. Sai Baba's help to Megha was not through any verbal instruction. He worked upon Megha internally, mentally, with the result that he was considerably changed and benefited. Then, Megha began to look upon Sai Baba as an incarnation of Lord Shiva. In order to worship Shiva, Bela leaves are required, and Megha used to walk several miles every day to bring them and worship his Shiva, that is our Baba. Megha's practice was to worship all the gods in the village and then come to the masjid. And after bowing before Baba, he worshipped Baba, and after shampooing his legs, drank the water used to rinse Baba's feet. Once it so happened that he came to the masjid without worshipping the god Khanoba, as the door of the temple was closed. Baba did not accept this his worship and sent him back saying, "The door is now open." Megha went, found the door open, worshipped the deity, and then returned to Baba as usual. So, a bath in the Ganges. On a Makar Sankranti day, Megha wanted to besmear Baba's body with sandal paste and bathe him with water from the Ganges. Baba was first unwilling to undergo this ritual, but upon Megha's repeated request, he consented. Megha had to traverse a distance of 24 miles to bring the sacred water from the Gomati river. He brought the water, made all preparations for the bath at noon, asked Baba to get ready for the bath. Then Baba again asked him to be freed from the bath, saying that as a fakir he had nothing to gain from the Ganges water. But Megha did not listen. He knew that Shiva would be pleased with a bath in the Ganges water and that he must give his Shiva, that is Baba, a bath on this auspicious day. Baba then consented, came down, sat on a wooden board, and leaning forward said, "Oh, Megha, do me a favor at least. The head is the most important organ of the body, so pour the water over only that. It is equivalent to a whole bath." "All right," said Megha, and lifting the pot, began to pour it onto Baba's head. But while doing this, he was so overwhelmed with love that he cried out, "Har Gange," and emptied the entire pot on Baba's whole body. He put the pot aside and began to look at Baba, but to his surprise and amazement, he found that Baba's head was drenched, but the rest of his body was completely dry. The trident and Pindi. Megha worshipped Baba in two places. He worshipped Baba in person in the masjid, and he worshipped Baba's picture in the Vada. He did his continuously for 12 months. Then, in order to appreciate his devotion and to confirm his faith, Baba gave him a vision. Early one morning, when Megha was still lying in the bed with his closed eyes but internally awake, he saw Baba's form clearly. Baba, who knew he was awake, threw akshata. Akshata is a rice grains colored red with kumkum, and said, "Megha, draw a trident," and disappeared. Hearing Baba's words, he eagerly opened his eyes and did not see Baba, but saw red rice grains scattered all over. He then went to Baba, told him about the vision, and asked for permission to draw the trident. Baba said, "Did you not hear my words asking you to draw a trident? It was not a vision, but rather a direct order, and my words are always pregnant with meaning and never hollow." Megha said, "I thought you woke me up, but all the doors were closed, so I thought it was a vision." Baba rejoined, "I require no door to enter. I have no form or extension. I always live everywhere. I am the controller of all the actions of man who trusts me and merges into me." Megha returned to the Vada and drew a red trident on the wall near Baba's picture. The next day, a Ramdasi devotee came from Pune, bowed before Baba, offered him a pindi, an image of Shiva. Megha also turned up at that very moment. Baba said to him, "See, Shankar has come. Worship him now." Megha was surprised to see the pindi following the trident immediately. At the same time in the Vada, Kaka Sahib Dikshit was standing with a towel around his head after a bath. He was remembering Sai when he saw Pindi in his mental vision. While he was thinking about this, Megha came and showed him the Pindi presented to him by Baba. Dikshit was happy to know that the Pindi exactly matched the one he had seen few minutes before in his vision. A few days after the drawing of the trident was complete, Baba installed the Pindi near the big picture which Megha was worshipping. The worship of Shiva was dear to Megha, and by arranging the drawing of the trident and the installation of the Pindi, Baba confirmed his faith therein. After continuously serving Baba for many years, having performed regular worship and arti every noon and evening, Megha passed away in 1912. Baba touched Megha's corpse and said, "This was a true devotee of mine." Baba also ordered that the usual funeral dinner should be served to the Brahmins and that his dinner would be provided at Baba's own expense. This order was carried out by Kaka Dikshit. Om Sai Ram. Om Satchidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Sai Ram. Welcome to Living Spiritually. Sai Satcharitra Chapter 29. Topics: the stories of the Madrasi Bhajani Mela, the Tendulkars, father and son, Captain Hatte, and Vaman Narvekar. The Madrasi Bhajani Mela. It was in the year 1916 that a Madrasi Bhajani group started on a pilgrimage to the holy city of Banaras. The group consisted of a man, his wife, daughter, and sister-in-law. Unfortunately, their names are not mentioned. On their way, the group heard that there lived in Shirdi a great sage named SaiBaba, who was very liberal. They heard that he distributed money every day to his devotees and to skillful persons who displayed their skill in front of them, in front of SaiBaba. A lot of money in the form of dakshina was collected daily by SaiBaba, and out of this amount he gave 1 rupee daily to a 3-year-old girl, Amani, the daughter of a devotee, Kondaji. 6 rupees to Jamali, that is Amani's mother, and rupees 10, 20 or even 50 to other devotees. Upon hearing all this, the party came to Shirdi and stayed there. The group sang very good bhajans. Bhajans are the devotional songs, but inwardly they craved money. 3 of the 4 people in the party were full of avarice, but the man's wife was of a very different nature. She had great regard and love for Baba. And it so happened that when the noon aarti was going on, Baba was very pleased with her faith and devotion and decided to give her darshan of her beloved deity. To her, Baba appeared as Rama. On seeing her beloved deity, she was greatly moved. Tears began to flow from her eyes and she clapped her hands with joy. The people around her began to wonder about the cause of her sudden joyful mood, but were unable to guess its cause. Later in the afternoon, she disclosed everything to her husband. She told him how she saw Sri Rama in place of Sai Baba. He thought that she was very simple and devout, and her seeing Rama might be a hallucination. He made fun of her, saying that it was not possible that she alone would see Rama while everyone else saw Sai Baba. She did not resent this remark, and she was fortunate enough to receive similar vision when her mind was calm and composed and free from arise. The wonderful vision. One night, the husband had a wonderful dream. He was in big city and the police there had arrested him, tied his hands with a rope and put him in a cage. As the police were closing the door, he saw Sai Baba standing on the other side of the cage. On seeing Sai Baba so close, he said in a plaintive tone, "Hearing of your fame, I came to your feet, and why then should a calamity befall me when you are standing here in person? Baba said, you must suffer the consequences of your actions. The man answered, I have not done anything in this life which would bring such misfortune on me. Baba said, if not in this life, you must have committed some sin in your past life. He replied, I do not know anything about my past life, but assuming that I did commit some sin, shouldn't it be burnt and destroyed in your presence, just as dry grass is burned by fire? Baba replied, have you got such faith? Yes, said the man. Baba then asked him to close his eyes. As soon as he shut his eyes, he heard the thumping sound of something falling, and upon opening his eyes, he saw that he was free and that the policemen had fallen down and were bleeding. Rather frightened, he began to look at Baba, who said, now you are truly caught, and officers will now come and arrest you. Then the man begged Baba, there is no other savior except you. Please save me somehow. Then Baba asked him to close his eyes again. He did so, and when he opened them, he saw that he was free, out of cage, and that Baba was by his side. He then fell at Baba's feet. Baba asked him, is there any difference between this namaskara and your previous ones? Think about it carefully and reply. The man replied, there is a lot of difference. My former namaskaras were offered with the aim of getting money from you, but the present namaskara is one offered to you as God. Besides this, I formerly thought resentfully that you, being a Muslim, were ruining us Hindus. Baba responded, do you not believe in Muslim gods? The man replied, no. Then Baba said, have you not got a panja, emblem of hand in your house? And do you not worship the same in Tabut? There is also in your house another Muslim deity named Kat Bibi, whom you propitiate and appease on your marriage and other festival. Is it not so? The man admitted to all this. Then Baba said, what more do you want? Then a desire arose in man's mind. He wanted to receive the darshan of his Guru Ramdas, and then Baba asked him to turn back and look. And when he turned, Ramdas was in front of him. As soon as he began to fall at his feet, Ramdas vanished. Then he asked Baba, you look old. Do you know your age? Baba exclaimed, what? You say I am old? Just run a race with me and see. Saying this, Baba began to run and he too followed. Baba disappeared in the dust raised by his own footsteps, and the man was then awakened from his sleep. After awakening, he began to think seriously about the vision. His attitude was completely changed and he realized Baba's greatness. After this, his greedy and doubting vices disappeared and true devotion to Baba's feet emerged in his mind. The vision was a mere dream, but the question and the answers therein were very significant and interesting. The next morning, when the devotees were assembled in the masjid for Aarti, Baba gave the man as prasad sweets and 2 rupees from his pocket and blessed him. He made him stay there for a few days and gave him his blessings. He did not get any more money there, but he got far better things. Baba's blessings, which served him well for the rest of his life. The group got plenty of money afterwards, and their pilgrimage was successful as they did not suffer any trouble or inconvenience during their journey. They all returned home safe and sound, thinking of Baba's words and blessings and the bliss they had experienced by his grace. This story illustrates one of the methods which Baba used in some cases to improve and reform his devotees. The Tendulkar family. The Tendulkar family lived in Bandra. The entire family was devoted to Baba. Mrs. Savitribai Tendulkar wrote and published a Marathi book named Sri Sainath Bhajan Mala, which describes the Leelas of Baba. It is a book worth reading by those who are interested in Baba. The son, Babu Tendulkar, was studying hard day and night and wanted to appear for the medical entrance examination. He consulted a few astrologers in this regard. Upon examining his horoscope, they found him that the stars were not favorable that year and that he should appear for the examination next year, when he would certainly be successful. This cast gloom over him and made him anxious and restless. A few days after this, his mother went to Shirdi and met Baba. Among other things, she mentioned the gloomy and the condition of her son, who was to appear for the examination in a few days. Hearing this, Baba said to her, "Tell your son to believe in me, throw aside horoscopes and predictions of the astrologers and palmers, and go on with his studies. Let him appear for the examination with a calm mind. He is sure to pass this year. Ask him to trust in me and not get disappointed." The mother returned home and communicated Baba's message to her son. Then he studied hard and in due course appeared for the examination. In the written papers he did well, but being overwhelmed by doubt, he thought that he would not secure enough marks to pass. So he did not bother to appear for the verbal examination. But the examiner was persistent. He sent word through a fellow student stating that he had passed in the written examination and that he should appear for the verbal part. The son, being thus encouraged, appeared for the verbal examination and was successful in both. Thus, he got through the examination successfully that year by Baba's grace, though the stars were supposed allied against him. It is to be noted here the doubts and difficulties surround us just to move us and confirm our faith. Difficulties test our faith. It is only if we steadily hold on to Baba with full faith and continue our endeavors that our efforts will ultimately be crowned with success. The father of the boy, Raghunath Rao, was working in some foreign firm in Bombay. As he grew old, he was not able to attend to his work properly, and so he had to take leave and rest. As he did not improve during the period of leave, a further extension of a leave or retirement from service was inevitable. The manager of the firm decided to retire him on a pension as he was an old and reliable employee. The manager was considering the amount of pension to be paid. He was making 150 rupees a month, and his pension, half the amount, 75 rupees, would not have been enough to meet the expenses of the family. So they were all anxious about this matter. 15 days before the final settlement, Baba appeared in Mrs. Tendulkar's dream and said, "I wish that 100 rupees be paid as pension. Will this satisfy you?" She replied, "Baba, why ask me this? We fully trust in you." Though Baba said 100 rupees, he was given 10 rupees more, that is 110 rupees as a special case. Such was Baba's wonderful love and concern for his devotees. Captain Hate, a resident of Bikaner, was a great devotee of Baba. Once Baba appeared to him in his dreams and said, "Have you forgotten me?" Hate then immediately held Baba's feet and replied, "If a child forgets his mother, how could it be saved?" Then Hate went into the garden, plucked fresh Valpapudi vegetables, and after arranging for Siddha, ghee, wheat flour, and dal, etc., and Dakshina was about to offer all this to Baba. Suddenly he was awakened and came to know that the whole thing was a dream. Then he decided to send all these things to Baba at Shirdi. When he went to Gwalior a few days later, he sent 12 rupees by money order to a friend with instruction that 2 rupees should be spent in buying Siddha and Valpapudi vegetables, and those should be offered to Baba with 10 rupees as dakshina. The friend went to Shirdi and purchased all the other things mentioned, but Valpapudi vegetables were not easily available. However, a woman suddenly turned up with a basket on her, which curiously enough contained the vegetables. They were purchased, and then all these things were offered to Baba on behalf of Captain Hate. Mr. Nimonka prepared the Naivedya, that is the rice and the Valpapdi vegetables, the next day and offered it to Baba. Everyone was surprised to see that Baba only ate the Valpapdi vegetables and did not eat the rice and other things on his plates. Hate's joy knew no bounds when his friend told him about this. The consecrated coin. On another occasion, Captain Hate wanted a coin that had been consecrated by Baba. He came across a friend who was bound for Shirdi, and Hathe sent his rupees with his friend. The friend went to Shirdi and after the usual salutation, first gave Baba his own dakshina which Baba pocketed. When he gave Baba's Hathe's rupees, Baba held it in his hand and began to stare at it. He held it in front of his face, tossed it with his right thumb and played with it. Then he said to the friend, "Return this to its owner with the prasad of Udi and tell him that I want nothing from him. Ask him to live in peace and contentment." The friend returned to Gwalior, handed over the consecrated rupee to Hathe, and told him all that happened at Shirdi. Hathe was very pleased and realized that Baba always encouraged good thoughts. As he wished intently, Baba fulfilled the same accordingly. Vaman Narvekar. Now let the readers hear a different story. A gentleman named Vaman Narvekar loved Baba very much. He once brought a coin and wanted to have it consecrated by Baba. On one side of it were engraved the figures of Rama, Lakshmana and Sita. On the other side, the figure of Maruti with folded hands. He offered it to Baba in the hopes that he would consecrate it with his touch and return it with Odi. But Baba immediately pocketed it. Then Shama spoke to Baba regarding Vaman Rao's intention and requested him to return it. Then Baba said, "Why should it be returned to him? We shall keep it ourselves. If he gives 25 rupees for it, it will be returned." Then for the sake of that rupee, Vaman Rao somehow found 25 rupees and placed it before Baba. Then Baba said, "The value of that rupee far exceeds 25 rupees. Shama, take this rupee, let us have it in our store, keep this in your shrine and worship it." No one had the courage to ask Baba why he did this. Only he knows what is best and most suitable for everyone. Om Sai Ram. Om Satchidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ji Ki Jai. Om Sai Ram. Welcome to Living Spiritually. Sai Satcharitra Chapter 30. Topics: Kakaji Vaidya of Vani, Ramlal from Bombay. In this chapter, the story of two more devotees that were drawn to Shirdi is narrated. Preliminary: bow to the kind Sai, who is the abode of mercy and loves his devotees dearly. Through merely receiving his darshan, he does away with their fear of this worldly existence and saves them from calamities. He was first formless, but on account of the devotion of his devotees, he was obliged to take a form. To liberate and help devotees attain self-realization is the mission of saint, and for Sai, the greatest of the saints, that mission was inevitable. Those who take refuge at his feet have all their sins destroyed and their progress is certain. Even Brahmins from holy places come to him and read scriptures and chant the Gayatri mantra in his presence. We who are weak and without any merits do not know what devotion truly is, but we do know that though everyone else may abandon us, Sai won't forsake us. Those whom he favors get enormous strength, discrimination between the unreal and the real, and knowledge. Sai always knows the desire of his devotees and fulfills the same. Hence, they get what they want and are grateful. So, we invoke his aid and prostrate ourselves before him. Forgetting all our faults, we let him free us from all anxieties. He who is overcome with calamities and remembers and prays to Sai will get his mind calmed and pacified through his grace. Sai, the ocean of mercy, says Hemad Pant, favored him, and the result is this work, the Sai Satcharithra. Otherwise, what qualification had he to undertake this enterprise? But as Sai took all the responsibility, Hemad Pant felt no burden or concern about this. When the powerful light of knowledge was there to inspire his speech and pen, why should he entertain any doubt or feel any anxiety? Sai got the service in the form of this book done by him. This is due to the accumulation of Hemad Pant's merits in his past births. Therefore, he feels he is fortunate and blessed. The following story is not a mere tale, but pure nectar. He who drinks it will realize Sai's greatness and all pervasiveness. Those who want to argue and criticize should not read these stories. What is needed here is not discussion, but unlimited love and devotion. Learned, devout, and faithful believers are those who consider themselves servants of the saints while like and appreciate the stories, while others will take them to be mere fables. Fortunate devotees of Baba will find Sai Leelas to be a wish-fulfilling tree. Drinking this nectar of Sai Leelas will liberate ignorant souls, satisfy the householders, and will be a sadhana to the aspirants. Kakaji Vaidya. In a place called Vani, in the district of Nasik, there lived a man called Kakaji Vaidya. He was the priest in the temple of the goddess Saptashringi. He was so well overwhelmed with adverse circumstances and calamities that he lost his peace of mind and became quite restless. Under such circumstances, one evening he went into the temple of the goddess and prayed unto her from the bottom of his heart and invoked her aid to free him from anxiety. The goddess was pleased with his devotion and the same night appeared to him in his dreams and said, "You go to Baba and then your mind will become calm and composed." Kakaji was anxious to know from her who this Baba was, but before he could get any explanation, he was awakened. Then he began to wonder who this Baba might be. After some thought, he resolved that Baba might be Trayambakeshwar or Lord Shiva. So he went to the holy place Trayambak in the Nasik district and stayed there for 10 days. During this period, he bathed early in the morning, chanted the Rudra hymns, performed the Abhishekam, a ritual of pouring a stream of fresh cold water over the pindi, that is the Shiva's form, and performed other religious rites. But despite all this, he was just as restless as before. Then he returned home and again invoked the goddess pitifully. That night, she again appeared in his dreams and said, "Why did you go to Triambakeshwar in vain?" "I mean Sri Sai Samarth of Shirdi." The question before Kakaji now was how and when he could go to Shirdi and see Baba. If anybody is really earnest to see a saint, God fulfill his wish. In fact, the saint and God are one and the same, and there isn't any difference between them. If anybody believes that they can go and see a saint at their own free will, that would simply be boastful. Unless the saint wills it, no one is able to go and see him. Even the leaf of a tree won't move without his bidding. The more anxious a bhakta is to visit the saint, the more quickly and effectively is his wish satisfied. He who invites anybody for a visit also arranges everything for his reception, and this happened with Kakaji too. Shama's Oaths. When Kakaji was thinking about visiting Shirdi, a guest came to him to take him to Shirdi. That person was Shama, a very close and intimate devotee of Baba. We shall now see how and why he came to Vani. Shama was severely ill when he was very young and his mother had taken an oath to her family goddess Saptashringi at Vani. She owed that if her son recovered, she would bring and dedicate him at her feet. After a few years, the mother herself suffered a severe bout of ringworms on her breast. At that time, she again made another oath to her deity that if she recovered, she would offer the goddess 2 silver breasts. These 2 oaths remained unfulfilled. At her deathbed, she called her son Shama and drew his attention to the oaths, and after making him promise that he would fulfill the oaths, she breathed her last. After some time, Shama forgot about this oath, and thus 30 years elapsed. At about this time, a famous astrologer had come to Shirdi and stayed there for a month. His predictions in the case of Bapu Sahib Booty and others came true, and everybody was satisfied. Shama's younger brother Bapaji consulted him and was told that his mother's oaths, which his elder brother had promised to fulfill, were not yet fulfilled. Hence, the goddess was not pleased with them and was thus bringing troubles upon them. Bapaji told his brother Shama, who was then reminded of the unfulfilled vows. Shama believed any further delay would be dangerous, so he called a goldsmith and got a pair of silver breasts prepared. Then he went to the masjid, prostrated himself before Baba, and placed before him the 2 silver breasts. He requested Baba to accept them and free him from the oaths, as he believed Sai was his Saptashringi, goddess incarnate. Then Baba insisted that Shama go in person to the temple of Saptashringi and offer them at the feet of the goddess. Then, after taking Baba's permission and oath, he left for Vani and came to Kakaji's house. Kakaji was then very anxious to visit Baba, and Shama went there to see him at that very moment. What a truly divine miracle this was! Kakaji asked him who he was and from where he had come. On learning that he was from Shirdi, Kakaji at once embraced Shama. He was so overpowered with love. Then they talked about Sai Leelas, and after finishing the rites of Shama's oaths, they both left to Shirdi. On reaching the place, Kakaji went to the masjid and fell at Baba's feet. His eyes were soon filled with tears, and his mind attained calmness instantly. Just as the vision of the goddess had suggested, as soon as he saw Baba, his mind lost all its restlessness and it became calm and composed. Kakaji began to wonder what a wonderful power this is. Baba said nothing. There were no questions or answers. No benediction was pronounced, and the mere darshana itself was so conducive to happiness. The restlessness of my mind disappeared simply by receiving darshan, and the consciousness of joy came upon me. This is what is called the greatness of darshan. His vision was fixed on Sai's feet, and he was speechless. Upon hearing about Baba's Leelas, his joy knew no bounds. He surrendered himself completely to Baba, forgot his anxiety and cares, and got undiluted happiness. He lived in Shirdi happily for 12 days, left after receiving Udi and blessings from Baba. The second one is Kushal Chand of Rahata. It is said that a dream we see in the early hours of the morning turns out to be true. This may be so, but regarding Baba's dreams, there was no restriction of time. To quote an instance, Baba told Kaka Sahib Dikshit one afternoon to go to Rahata and bring Kushal Chand, as he had not seen me for a long time. Kaka Sahib took a tanga, small horse drawn to cart, and went to Rahata to fetch Kushal Chand. He saw Kushal Chand and gave him Baba's message. Hearing it, Kushal Chand was surprised and said that when he was taking a nap after lunch, Baba appeared in his dreams and asked him to come to Shirdi immediately. As he had no horse of his own nearby, he had sent his son to inform Baba. As his son was crossing the village border, Dikshit's tanga turned up. Dikshit then said that he had been sent by Baba to bring him to Shirdi. Then they both went in the tanga back to Shirdi. Kushal Chand saw Baba and everyone was pleased. Seeing this Leela, Kushal Chand was greatly moved. Ramlal from Bombay. Once a gentleman from Bombay named Ramlal had a dream in which Baba appeared and asked him to come and see him. Baba appeared to him as a saint, but Ramlal did not know who the saint was or where he lived. He wanted to meet the saint, but as he did not know who the saint was, he had no idea what to do. But he who calls anybody for a meeting also makes the necessary arrangements for the same. This is exactly what happened in this case. That very afternoon, when he was walking on the street, he saw a picture of a saint in a shop. The saint he saw in the picture looked exactly like the saint in his dream. Upon making inquiries, he came to know that the picture was of SaiBaba of Shirdi. Shortly afterwards, he went to Shirdi and stayed there till his death. In this way, Baba brought his devotees to Shirdi for darshan and satisfied their wants and desires. Om Sai Ram. End of chapter 30. Om Satchidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai.